The African savanna looks calm when the first light breaks the horizon, but that calm is a lie. Every sunrise here is not just the beginning of another day, it's the opening move in a game of survival where the rules never change, and the stakes are always life and death. This is a world where power is not inherited, it's taken. Every creature, from the smallest insect to the most fearsome predator, lives under the same law: endure or vanish. The cracked earth carries the echoes of countless battles, and every shadow hides both opportunity and danger. But survival here isn't just about brute strength. It's about strategy, betrayal, courage, and sometimes sheer luck. And what we're about to uncover reveals a side of the savanna that is far more ruthless, mysterious, and even shocking than most people ever imagine. Lions. Kings with enemies. They are called kings of the savanna, but even kings live under constant threat. A lion's power lies not just in its roar, but in the unity of its pride. Alone, even the strongest lioness struggles to bring down prey. But together, a pride becomes a silent army, fanning out across the grass, eyes locked on buffalo, zebra, or antelope. When the lioness crouches low, every muscle coiled like a spring, she knows one mistake could mean starvation for her cubs. To face a buffalo herd is to gamble with death. A single charge from those massive horns can shatter bones. Yet hunger pushes them forward. And on land scorched by drought, where water has all but vanished, that hunger grows desperate. Even the male, draped in his golden mane like a crown, is not safe. Rival males roam the borders, waiting for weakness. A single defeat could cost him his throne, his pride, and even his cubs. Researchers in 2020 tracked one Masai Mara pride forced to walk more than 20 miles in just 48 hours, echoing legends told by tribes of lion kings who once led their followers through impossible odds. Power here is never permanent. It must be seized, defended, and fought for again and again. But while lions may rule with strength, their greatest rivals survive with something far more cunning. Hyenas, the dark strategists. If lions are the kings, hyenas are the schemers lurking in the shadows. Too often dismissed as scavengers, these creatures are far more dangerous than their reputation suggests. Their sloping bodies, built for endurance, allow them to run down prey for miles until exhaustion does what claws cannot. A lion's heart is powerful, but proportionally, a hyena's heart is nearly twice as large, a relentless engine built for the long game. They do not fight with elegance. They overwhelm with persistence. In packs, their eerie laughter signals more than chaos. It's a language of coordination, planning, and calculated strikes. And unlike lion prides, hyena clans are ruled by females. Bigger, stronger, and completely dominant over the males. But controversy has always surrounded them. Some researchers argue hyenas steal more than they kill, while others insist lions steal more kills from hyenas than the other way around. On social media, they're branded as cowards. Yet in the wild, a single clan of 70 hyenas can bring down a fully grown lion. In this ongoing feud, scavenger or hunter depends entirely on which side of the story you choose to believe. Still, hyenas thrive because of strategy, not strength. They survive where others starve, carving out victory by sheer determination. And that leaves the grazers of the savanna with only one option: to outrun them. Impala, zebra, and antelope, the living targets. On the savanna, some animals carry horns like spears or claws like daggers, but others survive with only speed and vigilance. The impala, slender and unarmed, can leap over 30 feet in a single bound, vanishing into the grass before a predator's claws can even close. Their ears never stop swiveling, tuned to the faintest sound of danger, a built-in alarm system that has saved countless herds. Then there are the zebras, dressed in their unmistakable black and white stripes. For centuries, people believed those stripes were only camouflage, breaking their outline in the tall grass. But scientists now argue over a more curious theory, that the stripes may confuse biting flies, reducing disease. Still, when zebras huddle together, their stripes blur into a dizzying pattern, making it nearly impossible for a predator to isolate a single target. It's a defense built not from strength, but from unity. The antelope, too, rely on collective strategy. Living in vast herds means no one individual carries the full weight of risk. When lions or hyenas strike, panic scatters the herd, and survival often belongs to the one who runs fastest, not the one who fights hardest. To predators, these grazers may look like easy meals, but time and again, they prove that speed and strategy can defy even the deadliest hunters. And yet, some antelope refuse to run. Instead, they turn to face their attackers, and sometimes the prey becomes the predator. Antelope that fight back. The sable antelope. Most prey animals run, but the sable antelope is no ordinary target. With its jet black coat and horns that can stretch over 4 feet, curved like scythes, it carries a weapon so formidable that even lions think twice. When cornered, the sable doesn't flee. It lowers its head and charges, horns forward with the precision of a warrior. There are documented cases of lions being fatally gored by these antelope, a shocking reversal where the hunter becomes the hunted. This boldness has earned the sable a reputation as one of Africa's most fearless grazers. But survival for the sable isn't just about its horns. These antelope remember the terrain, the location of waterholes, and the safest grazing grounds. Within the herd, constant communication, sharp snorts, whistles, and body signals keeps them alert to every movement in the grass. They are living proof that even prey can shape the balance of power on the savanna. Still, courage and strength only go so far. For millions of animals, survival demands something more, a journey of staggering distance and unimaginable risk. The Great Migration, nature's greatest gamble. Every year, the African plains transform into the stage for one of nature's most breathtaking spectacles, the Great Migration. It is the largest overland movement of animals on Earth. More than 1.5 million wildebeest, 250,000 zebras, and hundreds of thousands of gazelles pushing forward in an endless wave of survival. They march over 1,000 miles, from the lush Serengeti of Tanzania to the rolling grasslands of Kenya's Masai Mara. The journey is relentless. Searing droughts, exhaustion, predators waiting in the tall grass, and crocodile-infested rivers that swallow the weak. At times, the herds must plunge headfirst into waters boiling with danger, their instincts forcing them onward even as thousands are trampled, drowned, or torn apart. But the migration is more than a fight for survival. It is the lifeblood of the ecosystem. As grazers move, they trim grasses, fertilize the land, and fuel the predators that follow. Without this epic cycle, the savanna would collapse. UNESCO calls the Serengeti one of the most biodiverse grasslands on Earth, and the migration is its heartbeat. Still, not everything about this spectacle is eternal. Recent reports warn of shrinking migratory routes as farmland and roads expand. Some scientists fear that within decades, the Great Migration may be disrupted, forever altering one of Earth's last wild wonders. And among the chaos of hooves and dust, a different kind of predator waits, one built not for endurance, but for explosive speed. The cheetah's curse. In the theater of the savanna, no predator embodies pure speed like the cheetah. Sleek, lightweight, and designed like a living arrow, it can explode from stillness to 60 miles per hour in just a few heartbeats. Its long tail acts as a counterbalance, whipping side to side to steer each lightning turn. To watch a cheetah sprint is to see the very edge of evolution's design. But this gift of speed comes at a brutal cost. Every stride drains its reserves. Within 30 seconds, the cheetah begins to overheat, its muscles drowning in exhaustion. Victory depends on closing the gap quickly. If the chase drags on, the prey escapes. Even after success, the cheetah remains vulnerable. Lions, hyenas, or even vultures can swoop in to steal its kill before it has eaten a single bite. Worse still, survival for the species itself hangs by a thread. More than 70% of cheetah cubs never make it to adulthood, falling prey to predators or the harsh environment. And debates rage within conservation circles. Can the cheetah endure without human intervention? Some experts argue that fragmented habitats and shrinking prey numbers will doom them, while others hold on to hope, pointing to bold conservation projects in East Africa. The cheetah is both triumph and tragedy, the fastest creature on land, yet among the most fragile. On the savanna, even the masters of speed must bow to time, hunger, and fate. But while the cheetah's gift burns out quickly, other giants of Africa wield a different kind of power, one of sheer size, endurance, and dominance over the land itself. Elephants and rhinos, the architects and survivors. When speed and cunning fall short, Africa's giants dominate through sheer presence. The elephant, towering above all other land animals, is more than a symbol of strength. It is an architect of the savanna itself. Each day, a single elephant can consume over 300 pounds of vegetation. With every tree pushed down, every path carved, they reshape the landscape, creating corridors for other species and maintaining balance in the ecosystem. Without them, much of the savanna would collapse into chaos. The rhino, equally imposing, tells a different story, one of survival against extinction. The white rhinoceros, once reduced to fewer than 20 individuals at the end of the 19th century, has staged a remarkable comeback. By 2023, around 18,000 roamed Africa once again. Yet, the victory is fragile. In 2022 alone, over 450 rhinos were killed in South Africa, their horns hacked off to fuel a black market worth millions. Conservation has turned into a war of endurance, pitting poachers against rangers, survival against greed. And while elephants are revered in many cultures, they too face relentless challenges: shrinking habitats, climate change, and in recent years, even sanctioned trophy hunts. In 2024, Botswana reignited global debate by issuing 400 elephant hunting licenses, sparking outrage from conservationists and sparking speculation about the future of Africa's greatest herds. These giants are powerful, but their survival depends not just on size, but on human choices. And that casts a shadow across the savanna, a reminder that the greatest threat may no longer come from predators, but from us. Yet even in the shadow of human influence, the legends of the wild still echo, stories that blur the line between myth and reality. Human shadows on the savanna. For all its ancient power, the savanna today is shaped not only by the clash of predator and prey, but also by human hands. Expanding farms, fences, and highways carve up the land, blocking migration routes that animals have followed for centuries. What was once a boundless horizon is now fragmented by lines of concrete and wire. And beyond the silent intrusion of development, there is conflict. In 2024, international reports revealed mass evictions of Maasai communities from parts of Tanzania's Ngorongoro region, driven by tourism and trophy hunting interests. These moves sparked outrage worldwide, with critics arguing that the very people who have coexisted with lions, elephants, and zebras for generations are now being pushed aside for profit. Meanwhile, poaching and illegal wildlife trade continue to drain the savanna of its giants. Rhinos vanish for their horns, elephants for their ivory, and even lions for bones and hides. Rangers risk their lives daily in what many now call a war for the soul of Africa's wilderness. Yet not every story is bleak. Grassroots conservation groups and indigenous communities fight to reclaim stewardship of the land. Across Kenya and Botswana, new projects blend modern tracking technology with ancient knowledge, proving that the future of the savanna depends not on choosing between people and wildlife, but on uniting them. But even as these struggles unfold, one thing endures: the myths and legends born from this land. Tales that blur the line between survival and something greater, something timeless. The legend of Kimba. Myth meets reality. Every great landscape carries its myths, and the African savanna is no exception. Among the fireside stories told by the Maasai, one name rises again and again: Kimba. the lion with a golden mane said to blaze like fire. His story is not just legend, but a reflection of the very real battles lions face in this unforgiving land. The tale begins in the time of a devastating drought, so long and severe that even the oldest villagers could not remember when the rains last fell. The grasslands turned to dust, rivers cracked into empty veins, and herds of antelope collapsed where they stood, their cries echoing across the barren plains. It was a silence heavier than death itself, broken only by the moans of the starving. While fear gripped every creature, one pride of lions refused to bow. At its center stood Kimba. According to the myth, he heard the whispers of the gods, telling him to lead his pride through death and into a land of renewal. It wasn't a command, it was a choice. He could have lain down and accepted the fate that had consumed so many others. But instead, Kimba rose. At dawn, his roar shook the earth, not of despair, but of defiance. The pride followed him, though the journey that lay ahead was brutal. 40 miles of barren land stretched between them and survival. No water, no cover, only enemies lurking in the dust. Rival predators trailed them, waiting for weakness. Yet Kimba pushed forward, each step carrying the weight of his ancestors. His courage rekindled the spirit of his pride. Even when their bellies groaned with hunger and their throats burned dry, they walked in his shadow. The story says that when they reached the river they longed for, it too had turned to dust. The last hope seemed gone. But Kimba did not falter. From the cracks in the earth, a hidden spring began to bubble, revealed by his persistence. The Maasai call this the water of the gods. That stream not only saved the Babasquad pride but brought new life to the grasslands, as if Kimba's will alone had revived the land. Now, here's where legend meets reality. In 2020, scientists tracking a real lion pride in Kenya's Masai Mara recorded a journey eerily similar to Kimba's. The pride was forced to march more than 20 miles in just 48 hours, driven by a drought that had stripped their territory bare. Lionesses carried cubs, males lagged behind to shield the weak, and together they crossed into new ground. Survival not by power alone, but by unity and endurance. For many, it was proof that the stories of Kimba aren't just myths. They're echoes of real events, passed down through generations in symbolic form. But the legend doesn't end with triumph. Kimba's story is also a warning. Even kings are tested, not just by rivals or hunger, but by nature itself. The dry seasons will always return, the rivers will always dry, and each time the pride must decide, fight or fade. Today, lions continue to walk in Kimba's shadow. An adult lion can endure up to 35 days without food, conserving its strength until the perfect moment to strike. A single leap can unleash enough force to bring down prey many times its size. They are living symbols of resilience. Yet just like in the old tales, their survival is fragile. One drought, one lost territory, one failed hunt away from collapse. Perhaps that is why the legend endures. Kimba is more than a lion of the past. He is a reflection of every pride that still prowls these plains, holding the line between survival and extinction. To the Maasai, Kimba was chosen by the gods. To science, he is a symbol of adaptation and endurance. But to anyone who has heard his roar, Abuwama, whether in myth or in the wild, he is a reminder that even in the harshest landscapes, hope and leadership can bring life where death was certain. And that is why the savannah's greatest stories are never just about animals. They are about courage, unity, and the timeless will to endure. Conclusion: the Eternal Kingdom. The African savanna is more than a place. It is a stage where life and death perform the oldest drama in existence. Every dawn begins with the same question: who will rise and who will fall? And yet, the answers are never simple. Strength alone does not crown kings here. Strategy, unity, patience, and sometimes sheer chance decide the fate of creatures great and small. We have seen lions, the rulers of the grasslands, defending their thrones with tooth and claw, but also losing to hunger, rivals, and even the sharp horns of antelope who refuse to yield. We've seen hyenas, mocked as scavengers, reveal themselves as cunning tacticians, thriving not on elegance but on endurance and unbreakable social bonds. Impalas and zebras have shown us that survival is not about dominance but about agility, vigilance, and the safety found in numbers. And then there are the giants, elephants and rhinos, whose very existence shapes the land, yet who stand today at the mercy of forces far beyond their control. The Great Migration proved that survival is also a journey, a relentless march across rivers, plains, and deserts, where millions move as one heartbeat, their survival fueling the balance of the entire ecosystem. Cheetahs, in their breathtaking speed, showed us the paradox of evolution. The fastest animal alive is also one of the most fragile, its fate uncertain in a world shrinking around it. But perhaps the most powerful lesson comes not from science alone, but from story. From the legend of Kimba, the lion whose roar carried his pride through drought and despair. Whether myth or memory, Kimba reminds us that leadership and unity are forces as vital as claws and fangs. He is the eternal symbol of resilience, his tale passed down not just to inspire the Maasai people, but to echo across generations as proof that survival is as much spirit as it is strength. Yet beyond the circle of predator and prey, another shadow looms. Human footprints now press deeper into this land. Highways cut across migration routes. Trophy hunters boast of victories bought with money instead of courage. Poachers strip the savanna of its giants for horns and tusks worth more in black markets than in the soil of Africa. Even the Maasai, who have walked beside lions and zebras for centuries, find themselves pushed aside in the name of profit and progress. Still, there is hope. Across Africa, conservationists, scientists, and local communities fight back, building sanctuaries, tracking herds with satellites, and teaching the world that protecting the savanna is not just about saving animals. It is about saving ourselves. Because this ecosystem does more than dazzle with beauty. It stabilizes climates, fuels biodiversity, and reminds us of the ancient connection between humankind and the wild. The savanna is eternal, but it is also fragile. It has endured for millions of years, through droughts, floods, extinctions, and rebirths. And yet today, its survival depends not just on nature's balance, but on our choices. Will we be the next great predator to consume it, or the guardians who preserve its song for generations, yet unborn? As the sun sinks behind the horizon, the sky bleeding into gold and crimson, the savanna does not sleep. Lions stir in the shadows, herds press onward through the night, hyenas laugh in the distance. The eternal cycle continues, as it always has. Tomorrow the dawn will return, igniting the plains in fire and light. And once again, the question will rise, who will endure? Here, survival is not about the strongest. It is about the balance of all. It is a kingdom without walls, ruled not by crowns, but by the eternal rhythm of life itself. And as long as that rhythm beats, the savanna will remain the heart of Africa, untamed, unbroken, and forever alive.